Have you ever hired a friend of a friend just because they needed a job and then 2 weeks in, you are sure that this was the biggest mistake you ever made in your whole life? I've done the same thing. If you are ready to stop wasting time on the wrong hires and start building a team that's going to support your vision, is passionate about what you do, then this episode is for you. I'm going to walk you through my exact process from creating a job ad to the onboarding and my famous trapdoor test. I'm going to show you how to do it all in this episode. So if you're looking to up-level your team and bring somebody in to help you, you need this episode. Let's go. Welcome to the Clinical Entrepreneur Podcast. I'm Rhonda, your no fluff, tell it like it is business bestie for wellness practitioners just like you who want to build a practice you love and make a bigger impact and a little money while you're at it. So if you're ready to ditch the overwhelm, attract your dream, ideal patients, and finally run your practice with complete confidence, you're in the right place. Each week, we're tackling things from programs to patient retention to marketing strategies that actually work, sprinkled, of course, with a little sass, a lot of heart, and the step-by-step strategies that will help you get there. So grab your cup of coffee, your notebook, or whatever keeps you going, and let's build a practice you love and a life you love together. Well, hey friends, welcome back. I am going to be talking about actually one of my very favorite subjects today, which is how to hire the right kind of team. And I kind of consider myself a bit of an expert at this because I've failed at it so many times, truth be told. And some of you may have heard the episode I did a while ago about, I don't know how, I think I hired 9 people in 11 months, hired and fired. The 9th one was a keeper, but I went through 8 people. It's been wild, and I've done even more than that. So today, I wanted to just talk to you about my whole process. I'm just going to kind of lay it out for you. And, you know, the problem is that when you put an ad on Indeed or ZipRecruiter or whatever online, a Facebook group, you know, something like that, you can't tell anything from a resume. You can tell nothing. They lie. People lie. They lie on resumes. They make up things. Did you know there is a whole movement out there of people that are literally lying on resumes, and they're getting AI to coach them on the resume, how to respond to an interview, what to put on a resume, the types of questions you need to answer. They're using AI for all of it. And businesses are hiring people that have no skill. And the process of interviewing and asking the right interview questions and all of the things is just mind-numbing if you had a whole bunch of resumes to go through, right? And how do you know? You can't tell anything about a person by a resume. So I'm going to give you my kind of special, like a trapdoor type approach that we're going to talk about that later. But having the right person in your office is just absolutely essential. You have to have that right person, someone who believes in you, they believe in your vision, they want to help the business grow, they're passionate about the work that you do and the people that you influence or people that you help and the influence that you have in the community. And finding that little gem takes a little bit more than just throwing an ad out there and then hoping that you get someone good. Most of the time when I talk with practitioners inside Clinical Business Academy or outside, you know, when I talk to practitioners, they're like, you know, well, she looked good and she was the daughter of a patient of mine. And most of the time that stuff just doesn't work well. It just ends up, every once in a while you might hit the golden egg, but that doesn't happen very often. So let's talk about, let's kind of unwrap this step by step. How do we go through this whole process? Well, first, I think I would be remiss if I didn't tell you what the cost to you is of making a bad hire. Not only did you spend time and effort and resources trying to find that right person, but then the time that you spend getting them in your office, onboarding them, training them, only for them to leave a few weeks later. And I actually just had this happen. I just hired someone and she stayed for 3 weeks. And, I think she just gave kind of a excuse that I didn't think was a real good one, but that's all right. But I think maybe she was in over her ski tips or I don't know what happened, but literally spent probably 40 to 60 hours training her and paying the person who was doing the training, right? So now I've got 2 hourly wages that I'm paying to train the new person so the old person can leave. And then 3 weeks after that, the new person quit. What? What's happening right now? She just said, I quit. Like, okay. And so here we go. And I just spent like literally thousands of dollars in wages to get this person trained. So when you make a bad hire, I didn't know she was a bad hire, but you got to try, and you're not going to hit it 100%, but I know I'm going to get closer than I would if I just found somebody on the street that needed a job, right? But what happens is when we have those bad hires, it costs us time, it costs us money, it costs productivity, it slows everything down, and it erodes trust if you have other team members, or you just honestly, it kind of erodes trust in yourself. I start to question myself, do I not know what I'm doing? Am I really not getting this right? What is the problem? So I would rather screen harder up front so I don't cry about it later, about all the lost wages and the lost revenue and the lost time and lost productivity. So how do you the first way that we're going to attract someone is you, the practitioner, you have to be clear about who you want to hire. Now I have to say, ChatGPT is golden for this. If you can go to, or whatever AI you use, if you can go to your AI of choice and you just type in, look, here's the position, here's who I want to hire for, these are the general tasks. Or you could even say, for instance, it's a front desk person in a busy chiropractic office and we do work with functional medicine or wellness or whatever. You could even say something like that. I need a back office assistant, or I need someone to help me with my marketing, or whatever it might be, whatever that position is for you. And it doesn't have to be full time. It doesn't have to be 20 hours a week. It could be 5 to 10 hours a week. It's fine. Just because you don't have to have someone full time. So the first thing you have to do is you have to get clear about the job description. You have to know who you're hiring, what position you're hiring, and what their responsibilities are. So you also want to add your mission and your culture. And the example that I always use, I've used this for years, is imagine you're in a law office, a very stuffy law office, and you have a front desk person that's at this law office, and she is dressed to the nines. Nails are manicured. She has a nice blazer on with a tight pencil skirt. She's got heels and hose. She's very prim, very proper, very professional. She's kind. She's direct. It's a high-end law firm, okay? She's a front desk person at a law firm. Now that person has all the skills needed, right? They can answer the phone. They can follow up on email correspondence. They can keep tasks organized. They can keep the attorneys organized. They have all the same kind of front desk tasks. Now compare that to someone who has a wellness practice in Hawaii, which is, the old adage is that they run on Hawaii time. And having been there multiple times, I can tell you that there is such a thing as Hawaii time, and it does not match the clock. So let's say that you also need a front desk person in Hawaii at this functional medicine chiropractic office. Skills are the same: answer the phone, follow up on emails, keep the schedule moving along, get people rescheduled, make sure nothing falls through the cracks. Basically the same skills. But is the pencil skirt law firm girl gonna survive and thrive in that Hawaii environment? Probably not, because that's not her personality. It's not how she wired. And vice versa. The Hawaii person, front desk person, would die 1,000 deaths in that kind of a structured environment in the law firm. So when you're hiring and you're deciding how you want to talk about your position out to the people in your world, you have to include something about who you are and what makes you tick. So in my example, are you the law firm person or are you the Hawaii person? You just have to say, this is who we are. I know my friend Dr. Bart Precourt, he brings his dog or dogs to work every day. My friend Jamie Arnold, she's in Clinical Business Academy. She brings her son. She's always brought her kids to work with her, and that works for her. But you want to describe that culture, because what if someone wanted to work for Jamie and Jamie said, I have my child here and we homeschool and he's here puttering around and interacting with the patients, etc. What if the person she was interviewing didn't like kids or something, would just needed a pencil skirt environment, right? Different people need different types of environments. So you have to discuss that. And then additionally, of course, you're going to talk about the roles and the responsibilities and that kind of thing. In your job description and your ad that you'll place, you're going to want to make sure that you write down the pay, of course. I recommend giving a pay range and give the average pay range. Let's say the average pay range is $25 an hour. It's going to vary depending on where you live in the country. But you might put the pay range at 22 to 28. It's $3 an hour either side of the mid range. So you could start someone at 24, 25 in this example, And they probably wouldn't be okay with that, right? You can talk about that. You could also offer benefits like paid time off if it's a full-time or 36 hours or more. You could offer that benefit. You can talk about wellness perks. If you're a chiropractor, you get adjusted once a week. You're going to get discounted supplements and a wellness protocol if you want, etc. Discounts on whatever. You just add those extra things because people really want to know. And then what are the opportunities for growth? Most people are they want to improve themselves. They want to learn a new skill. They want to grow and improve and develop. Especially I find that women they tend to be more like that. So you're not hiring help. I want you to think about hiring someone into your vision. You're hiring someone that can jump on your train and say, yeah, doc, let's go. I'm all in. So now you work with Chatty and you've got all that all lined out. Now you're going to post that job on Indeed. Now I've seen people, and I've done this too. I've seen people make the mistake of coming up with some really creative, fancy title for a front desk. And the people that are looking for a job, they're going to be looking for the term that they know. They're not going to look for, maintenance, a facilities manager or a maintenance manager of an apartment complex if you have some big fancy name for it. They're gonna miss it. So make the title of your job posting appropriate, like patient care coordinator or front desk coordinator - holistic wellness office or something like that. So someone might search for holistic or they might search for front desk, and you want to get your ad in front of as many people. So the title matters. Use keywords if you can, ask ChatGPT or another AI, what kind of keywords, and I've done this, and Chatty does a good job, but give me the keywords that I need to have in my ad that make it a little bit more searchable. Make sure you set the location. So you want to put the address of your practice so that they can show potential people where you're at. For me, in my brick and mortar in Seattle, we are in a very unique little location. And so I know that I'm not going to hire anyone outside about maybe a 3 to 5 mile radius because they're going to have traffic bad. And so if I see that they're in a certain zip code, no, I'm not doing it because I just know what's going to happen. And so then once you have all that, then you're going to put in the job description and then you're going to post it. Okay. Now here's the trapdoor method. Listen, if you're wondering where you can find all these resources, don't you worry. I've got all the things as part of our 12-month business growth plan. We do one big fat episode the first Tuesday of every month. This is month 9, and I have all the resources for you. Everything that we're going to be talking about today in this episode, all you have to do is go to rondanelson.com/12-month growth plan, the number 12-month growth plan, and look for month 9. And you'll find the hiring bundle there with all the things that we're going to be talking about in this episode. So don't forget, this one is juicy. So keep listening. There's more to come, but you'll get the resources, rondanelson.com/12-month growth plan, and click on month 9. You ready? You're going to want to write this down. Here's the trapdoor method. The trapdoor method is at the bottom of the ad, the very, very bottom. You're going to go through your whole ad and you're going to write all the things down. At the bottom of the ad, you are going to put something to the effect of, I'm just going to tell you how it works. To apply, do the following. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to tell them to apply by sending an email to a certain email address. So we have a dedicated email that we use just for online. Now I'll tell you, with Indeed, they'll bounce your post if they see that there's an email address in there. So all you have to do is put a space in there somewhere. So let's say it's info@yourpractice.com. You would put info@ and then a space and then put yourpracticename.com. But by adding that space in, their algorithm doesn't catch it and it'll fly. So what you want to do, at least as of right now, so don't listen to this a year from now and then say, that doesn't work. I mean, it works for right now. So you want to put down at the bottom, to apply, you're going to send an email to, then you put in your address with the subject line, and you're going to do some random crazy subject line. Like we've done green parrot feather, water stream timber, just something random, something super random, frog legs, turtle. It just doesn't matter. Pick 3 words, put it in. That way, if you get an email that it has that subject line, you know they read the whole ad and they got all the way to the bottom. Now, why is that important? Well, A, it's important because you want someone who's interested enough that they read your whole ad. That's key number one, really important key. Number two is that they could read it and then follow the instructions. Now, the rest of what we want them to put in that email, this is where it gets super fun. We want to ask them to take a personality test. Now, there's a free personality test that you can have them take. It's called the Myers-Briggs, and I will link it for you in the show notes. But the Myers-Briggs personality test, it's free. It's really, really easy to take. And the reason that I want to know is I want to know a little bit more about their personality. And just as a side tip, if you take that Myers-Briggs, their result, because you're asking them to send you their result, right? They're going to take the test. They have to attach it to the email. That's part of the instruction. And if you put that into ChatGPT and say, what can you tell me about a person who has a Myers-Briggs test that looks like this with these results? Chatty will not disappoint. Come back and say, this is their strengths. These are their weaknesses. Here's what you have to watch out for. Here's why they would be a good fit. So I want to see, can they follow instructions? Can you go take a personality test and can you attach it? The second thing I asked them to do is send their resume. Of course, I want to see their resume, but I'm not even as interested in the resume. What I'm most interested in is the third thing of my trapdoor, and that is a 3-minute video that tells me why they would be really great for the job. Now, not everyone will respond. I recently put out an ad and we had like thousands of people apply. And of that, I got, I don't know, it was a big group of applicants, but I got about 180 videos back. And you would think 180 videos, oh my gosh, going through them. But let me tell you what, it's real easy right away to spot who you want to work for you and who you don't, just by how they present themselves on a video. Because I had someone I'm posting for this particular job, and I have said very clearly what the job entails, who they're going to be, they're going to interact with people, etc., or whatever. And they show up with a hoodie on, sunglasses, the hood over their head. They didn't go to the website. They didn't look up anything about me. They know nothing about, they can't even remember. They just read the job ad and they just send this video. They're not articulate, or they use a lot of slang. I've seen that. Or they can't, their English isn't their first language, or they're overseas. No, instant, delete, done. But how would I have known that from just a resume? I wouldn't have. The video is the thing that will save your bacon. It gives you a sense of their personality, their communication skill, their confidence. Like, how confident are they in being able to do the job for you? And then lastly, when you look at someone's video, you kind of have to ask yourself, like, do I feel good? In other words, like watching them talk and interact, as you go, yeah, I could see myself working with that person. I could kind of feel that. Yeah, I kind of got that. So that's how you do it. And then you start screening down from there. And there's a whole process with that, but we don't have time to do it today. But you start kind of screening down from there. When you get that screening done and you're down to like your last 2 or 3, you're going to give them some questions and some, situational things, maybe another personality test if you want to, or I do a variety of things. It depends on the position. And so then when you're all done and you've now found your person, now everybody knows they've agreed on price. Now it's time to seal the deal. And the last thing next to last thing, you're going to want to send them an offer letter. Now, the reason that I like an offer letter is because it basically defines the position. It states what you're going to pay, what the benefits are, what their work experience is. Because remember, I told you about the people that are like falsifying all this stuff on resumes. Think about it. Like, I would never do that. I just would never. I don't lie intentionally. Like, I would never do that. And you all wouldn't do that either. It just baffles me that someone would actually make something up on a resume. And I've also seen lately, because I've seen a lot of resumes lately, that people don't put references anymore, which is really interesting. So you got to go find them on Instagram, and you should do that anyway, Instagram or Facebook or LinkedIn or wherever. You need to go see what they're up to, because the internet is forever, and you can find things out about people that you might say, yeah, no. I had someone apply one time here in the Seattle brick and mortar business. She applied, and I went to her Instagram. And when I got there, I found out that she was like heavy into like leading some group of people that were like trying to like make smoking weed legal, it was something about that, like going on trips and going and being in the woods and jumping off things. I'm like, no. So if she's smoking weed and I have a med spa, which is my other business, I don't want, no. And so I didn't even interview her because I was interested, like her video was good, but then I went and checked her out and was like, nope, I'm not doing that. So I just hit the delete button. That was it. So you want to send them an offer letter, and then you want them, let them know how excited you are. You're so excited, blah, blah, blah. And then you want to have them sign, like respond via email. Thank you. Yes, I accept your offer letter. And then I usually will have them sign it, and then it goes as part of their file. So then there's no ambiguity. There's nothing that's unclear. Everybody knows what the expectations are. And then once you get them in the door, then how are you going to train them? I think that's when you wow somebody. Think about it like when you first meet someone, right? You're dating and you meet someone. And you want to like have your best foot forward. You've got your best clothes on. You know, if you're a girl, you got your Spanx on or whatever, right? You're just putting your best foot forward. And it's part of this dating process. Like, we both want to like show up as good as we can for each other. And I want you to see my really good traits. And, you know, over time, we start seeing the little things that I call it the crazy that comes out of the can. That always takes a little while for it to come out. But if you screen well enough in the beginning, you're going to flush a lot of that out. And chat helps so much. Chatty helps so much with that. So for instance, like you're going to want to lay out a little bit of a training plan. So you might want to say, you know, okay, on day one, we're going to, you're going to just kind of shadow me. We're going to talk about the systems that we have for how to turn the computer on and how to schedule an appointment or whatever is involved in the job. Passwords, and kind of go over the timeline. Maybe it's the first day is just 3 hours. Maybe that's all you have them for the first day. And then by the end of the first week, more shadowing so they can kind of see what you do, more about the role, and then you can start to show them some of your SOPs. I'm big on creating systems inside a business because when people know what to do, they feel safe and they'll do a good job. But why would you let someone at your front desk make a decision about how to handle a patient correspondence? You're the one that should write that out. You should have that all written out. Of course, we go into great detail about this. I mean, great detail about streamlining your business inside Clinical Business Academy. But you can, and I'll link that in the show notes if you want to schedule a call with me. But those systems are essential for making sure that onboarding is really done well. And the new person feels loved and taken care of, like, oh my gosh, I have absolutely found my home. Because if you hire well and you train them well, they want to do a good job for you. They really do. And you just have to give them the tools to be able to do it. So if you have been thinking, I really need some help, listen, this is how you do it. And if you don't get anybody good from the first time you run the job ad, it's not that expensive. You can set a daily budget if you want to sponsor it, which is what I recommend. But you can always just stop the ad if you're not getting the right qualifications or the right kind of people responding. Tweak your ad a little bit, tweak the title, and then repost it again. And I'm telling you, you'll find your person. You just have to be patient. And the videos make it so easy. I watched 180 videos, and of those 180-ish videos, I ended up with about 10. I did about 10 interviews, I think. Of all of those interviews, those videos, the only ones, I only had 10 people that like jumped out of the screen and grabbed my heart, where I was like, I think you might be a good fit. And I probably interviewed a few that were kind of like questionable, and I know better than to do that, but I did it anyway. And it actually came down to like 2 or 3 that were in the running. And it makes it really easy to make a decision because then I don't have thousands of resumes to pour over. It saves me so much time. And if someone can't follow the directions, then I don't want them anyway, because I need you to be able to follow directions. It's kind of basic. We learned this in kindergarten. Line up, don't poke your neighbor, and be kind. So that's what I want to know. Can they follow directions? So when you hire, it really doesn't have to feel like you're gambling. It doesn't have to feel like that. If you screen well, you get really clear in the beginning about who you need, who would be the ideal person for that position, and then you give them the tools to succeed. You'll build a team that will work with you. And the most important thing, I think, is that the time that they'll save you. They're going to save you so much time because they're tasks you don't have to do any longer. And maybe you already have a staff person and you're like, they're not really cutting it. I talk to lots of practitioners like that, where they have somebody in place, but the employee's not doing a great job. Time to switch it out. And you just say, you know, I'm going to hire someone else and love you so much, but it's time that we part ways. And most states are at will, which means you can fire at will, and you may have to pay some unemployment. And so what? It's better to get rid of the people that aren't helping you grow or holding you back than to ever just keep someone because you don't want to have a hard conversation. And again, that's kind of what we talk about inside Clinical Business Academy. But what I want to tell you is this is the best news. Remember, this is part of our series of a 12-month business growth plan. So the first Tuesday, which is when the podcast releases, the first Tuesday of every month, I have a new practice strategy, and this is the one for this month. We're talking about obviously hiring. So here's how you can find the Wellness Office Hiring Bundle. So I have put all kinds of resources in here, a sample job, like an internal job description for a front desk. I have a sample ad for you. I've got the ad for Indeed. I've got questions that you can ask as a follow-ups for a front desk position. There's some situational questions, all kinds of things that you can ask them. And then there's an offer letter in there and some ideas about, you know, systems that you may want to create. It's literally all the things that you need to be able to hire and onboard effectively. All you have to do is go to rondanelson.com/12, the number 12, month growth plan, 12-month growth plan, and click on month 9. And that's where you'll find the hiring bundle. Okay, so you're going to go to month 9 and you're going to find, we've put them all into one bundle rather than giving you other resources, which is what we've done all the other months. This one is just one big bundle. So there you go. Go there, grab the bundle. Can't wait to hear how your hiring goes. I cannot wait. You have to let me know. All right, friends, take care.